past 2 months, we've seen dramatically different unemployment figures out of Australia. The latest results have raised questions over the economy's tentative recovery. To discuss figures, cuts and immigration, I'm joined down the line by Steve Lucas, Technical Analyst at 3C Analysis. Steve, thank you for joining me. Australia's February jobs figure showed an extra 71,000 people found work, one of the strongest monthly figures on record. And then the unemployment rate rose to 5.6% in March. Why have there been such volatile swings in trends?
Well, from what I can gather, the main reason for the big increase in February was part-time work. And obviously we've had the latest figures released for March showing a rise of unemployment. So I think the concern is that full-time employment is being replaced by part-time employment. The worry is that Australia has the fourth highest proportion of part-time workers in the world. Now, they have got a lot of seasonal industry over there, but I think the unions are getting concerned, and people are getting concerned generally, that obviously part-time workers don't have the same perks as full-time workers, and they're just concerned that that's what's occurring. The unemployment rate itself has been steadily rising, and it's at its highest level since 2009. So that is of some concern. It's all of some concern, but I think that really highlights the big issue between February and March. February, everyone was excited because a lot more people were employed, but the key fact is that they were part-time employment, and we've had the backlash of that on this figure in March.
If this negative trend continues, do you expect it will add to the case for further rate cuts?
I think that's the case, yes. We've got a rate now of 3%. Lots of people are talking about 2 more rate cuts this year. I personally think it'll probably be 1. So we might go down to 2.75%, something like that.
Julia Gillard says Australia will continue to run a sizable immigration programme, but had previously ordered a crackdown on visas for foreign workers. Now, you mentioned short-term and seasonal workers earlier. Are they usually from outside Australia, and is immigration always a positive thing for the country?
From what I've read and from what I've seen, a lot of the part-time workers are Australians themselves. But an interesting fact is that 1 in 4 Australians were actually born outside Australia. So that goes to show the strength of foreigners in the country. Most of those are from New Zealand. I think New Zealand have about 16%, the UK about 13%. So it's a very diverse population, but it's been a good thing for Australia, and that's why the Australian economy has generally done well. To have these influx of people, and I was one of them at one stage. I worked there for 5 years. It's just bringing your expertise in your field. In my case, it was in banking in the 80s and 90s to help develop their banking industry, for example. And it's in all sorts of fields where people are going offering their expertise. And the interesting fact as well is that of all the Australian export markets, 12 of the top 15 export markets are to non-English speaking countries in Australia. So that shows how important it is for them to have these people there. Now, you can get into lots of debates about where does it stop and how many you have, but overall I think it's a very positive thing for Australia and for most countries.
Lastly, let's look at the currency. The Prime Minister also said the high value of the Australian dollar would persist for some time and should be seen as an endorsement of safe haven status. Would you agree?
I would totally agree with that. I've thought that for some years. And it's somewhere that I've always recommend our clients look at if they're worried about their money, especially, we've spoken before about what's going on in Europe and where people should put their money and where they shouldn't put their money. I think we've talked about gold, people invest in gold as a safe haven. But Australia, you've got to consider it as a really good place to put your money. It's safe. It's pretty much European law. Unlikely to get involved in any major skirmishes. Overall, I think, yes, it's a very good place to invest your money, and it is a safe haven.
That was Steve Lucas from 3C Analysis with his insights into Australia employment. I will be back tomorrow to bring you an in-depth look at Italy's government debt. I'll see you then.